Rain or shine, it's here to make you laugh. It's the Steamboat Comedy Podcast. It's the Steamboat Comedy Podcast. And now your host, Kyle Ruff.
Fart mic, just mic the chairs.
Yeah, Tom Segura and Christina P have one. They just like both have microphones that are like down here.
Is there like a hole through the chair too?
I don't know. I just I know that they have like each one of them has two mics and one's by their butt.
That's amazing. Real innovators in the comedy scene, those two. All right, well, we'll just fucking roll. Welcome to the Steamboat Comedy Podcast, everybody. I'm your host yet again, Kyle Ruff. I am joined by, for his thrice appearance, I believe, or quaff.
Well, I mean, I'm even just looking at the posters.
There's
1, 2, 3. I think this is probably my 5th time up here.
Yeah?
Right around there.
Yeah? I think we've done, I don't think we did a podcast, though, the last time you came up.
Oh, no. I mean, the last podcast that I did with you is the one I was tripping on acid.
Oh, yeah.
I was just rambling.
I forgot about that.
For a while. Stringing one coherent thought into 10 non-coherent thoughts and then tying it with a bow. But no, just beers today. So we're looking
just
good.
Beers today.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah. And my name is Korey David. For
yes.
anybody. Yeah.
Yes, we didn't get there. We're talking about acid. How many times has this stranger been here?
I mean, you mentioned Adderall twice on the show last night, and I was like, who has Adderall? I like drugs. They're fun.
There's plenty of cocaine. I don't know. I'm sure there's enough.
Oh, the cocaine up in Steamboat has to have been stepped on so many goddamn times.
God. Trampled is the word.
It's just like Play-Doh at this point. It's not even.
Yeah. It's just powdered sugar at this point. Yeah. And we are joined for the first time by a special guest, Mr. Shelton Holmes. Say hello, sir.
Hello. How's it going?
Going well.
Good.
Glad to have you up.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Shelton's first road gig.
Yeah, it is my first road gig.
Nice, man.
Well, I guess technically it's my second road gig. I went to Salt Lake City, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well.
I don't
never
feel
mind.
special anymore.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's
My
rescinded.
bad.
Yeah, well, I guess all the magic's gone now.
I know.
But
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I thought this whole thing was special. I just didn't realize that we were just another.
We're in your bedroom.
We're just another road gig. Yeah.
I thought it'd be your first in my bedroom.
No.
But
Well, it is my first in your bedroom. Yeah.
That's
for
well.
Sure. Yeah.
First of many.
Yep.
Just when you're here anyway. Something about the soundproofing makes it really fun to jerk off in here.
In the dead of Kyle's room, no one can hear you jerk off.
I can wail like a banshee.
Oh, and I do. And my roommates hate me.
It's nice
it's
to
not
come
that
on the
soundproof.
hardwood floors too.
Oh, yeah.
I love coming onto linoleum. Kyle.
Just hear it splat when you hit the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. It's much easier than carpet.
Yeah. I got a whole squeegee system. It's way easier.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this got off topic real quick. Not that we even had a topic, but I'm really excited to have you guys here. So we're recording before the second of 2 nights, kicking off the summer stand-up series.
Mm-hmm.
And last night was a lot of fun. Had a great time. We had a lot of competing events, so it was kind of tough getting people in the seats, but it was a decent turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, there was the concert going on. It was free concert.
Free concert.
And then the Colorado Avalanche were playing in a potentially like Stanley Cup winning game.
Yeah.
I forgot. I made a note about it in my phone, and I forgot to say it last night. I wanted to commend the dudes that were there with women like so much. I'm like, dude, that pussy has to be so good for you to be missing the Avalanche game right now.
They're like, and they're looking down at their phones.
Yeah, because they don't. Because the women were probably like, yeah, let's go to a comedy show, and the guys were like, fuck. I've had that happen before, where you just like some guy's just like straight up watching his fucking phone in like the first or second row, and I was like, come on, dude. Like seriously, like I get checking the score every once in a while, but I can see you, and you're just being so damn disrespectful right now.
It's like, how about sit in the back if you're gonna do that? At least, you know.
Yep.
Tune on the commercial breaks, but God, yeah, it's when people in the front row. Was kind of unrelated, but the show I did in Texas, it was so hot, and these guys were drinking all day. Guy in the very first seat next to the stage was asleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, man, you're killing me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's never feels great.
No.
When somebody falls asleep at your show. Like it's a movie they didn't want to sit through.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything. Whenever there's someone like, if that guy was in the back of the room watching the game on his phone, you would never know. But if he's right in front and center, you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah. I mean, weird stuff happens like that at shows all the time.
Sure.
Like conversely, I remember it was one of the shows like right before a lockdown, and we were running it in the back of this brewery, and we filled it out, so there was a lot of people in there, and it just got really hot, and I didn't even notice that the heat was like blasting in the room. So before I had the time to actually go over there and turn it down, my friend John Davis went on stage, and he's a great comic. But while he was on stage, somebody just straight up passed out in the back of the room from heat, like just from being dehydrated.
Were they standing up and
They
like
were standing
hitting
up,
it?
and they just
Whoa,
like fell
that's
over,
scary.
right?
Oof.
And we like took, got him some water, sat him down. He was okay, but then of course John was just like, "Dude, I just killed so hard, somebody fainted."
Knocked him out.
Sorry, dude, I'll let you
bro.
have that one. I'm gonna go ahead and say it was the thermostat, but I'll give it. I'll give it to you.
For you. We all saw it. Yeah. That's awesome.
That'd be concerning if every time you did comedy, somebody just passed out.
Yeah, you probably should just stop.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
a danger to society.
Yeah.
Boys.
You're just hurting people.
It's like, please don't tell your jokes. Oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Better
Hit
watch
your
out.
face so hard on the floor.
But the show turned out great. I've always something I always say is like it's never about the size of the audience. It's just about the quality of the audience.
the
So
curve.
like I don't know, how many people do you think we wound up with last night?
By the end, probably 30 or so.
Yeah, and I mean the people that were there to have a good time.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I
They were all
have-
on board.
I just have the most fun when whoever is in the room is there to have a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, because I have bombed in front of 5 people, I've killed in front of 5 people, I have bombed in front of 300 people, and I've killed in front of 300 people. So
Right.
it's like it doesn't matter how many people are there. It's just a matter of whether or not they're there to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would take the killing in front of 5 over the bombing in front of 300 every time.
Yeah, and if
Sure.
it's like a small audience and they're just willing to work with you and they're not shy and they're willing to roll with the punches a little bit, they can wind up being really fun sets, because that's when I try to do a little bit more crowd work, because you're just trying to. Sometimes I feel like if the show is sold out and it's kind of just feels like a theater, of
Yeah.
sorts, like people are there to see the show. It feels like a show. If a room's kind of empty and you're just up there doing bits, it seems less sincere.
Yeah.
It seems, but obviously doing like anytime you're doing crowd work or dipping into the audience a little, it runs a risk, but
Right.
it usually runs more of a risk depending on how much they want to give you. Because when you're doing crowd work stuff, like all you're really hoping for is that just for them to say something that just gives you an idea,
Right.
right? That you can, and then you just let your brain kind of go wherever it wants, and hopefully that's fun, right?
Yeah.
But there's plenty of times you swing and you miss, but you try, and at least
Absolutely.
at that point you're just trying to make this a more intimate and sincere show for the people that are there.
Absolutely. And with a smaller audience, too, it's way easier to be like, hey, like, we're all in this inside joke together. You know what I mean? And that's what really kind of like brings everybody together and gets them on board. Which that's really hard to do with 300 people, is just be like, right, guys? Like, it's just the 300 of us,
Yeah.
Well, that's the
It's
thing
not-
too. If the room's so big, if something's happening up front, the people in the back have no idea what's happening.
Right.
So that's why one of those rules of thumb with crowd work is that whatever somebody says to you, you always repeat it back.
For sure.
So that way people understand. But I mean, if you're doing like a theater, I mean, I've never seen an arena comedy show. That sounds fucking terrible to me as an audience member. You're just up there doing the bits. You're doing your act,
Yep.
right? Because there really isn't an opportunity for you to make it personal, because there's so many people that are so far removed from whatever's happening 15 feet away from you that I just don't think it has that same kind of texture.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, it's amazing when that can be done, though. I saw like Joe Coy's comedy special where he does quite a bit of crowd work for the people in the front.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, I was like, how is he doing this? It's in an arena. It's huge,
Yeah. I mean, of course, there's always like, I'm a liar and a fraud. Everything I just said was invalid.
I've only seen it once. That's why I was impressed.
No,
I was
I
like,
know,
this
I'm
is
just- I'm
crazy.
just
I haven't
kidding.
seen it.
I think Anthony Jeselnik on one of his specials, he did a handful, like more than you would expect for some show like that too. But it's it's so much harder. It's
Yeah,
just so much
yeah.
more
Yeah.
difficult for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, I love Big J Okerson, and he only does crowd work. He doesn't fucking write bits at all.
Wow.
And he has several crowd work albums. I saw him actually record one at the Creek in the Cave. I was down there, and it was hilarious. But he just jumped on with Bert's gigantic fucking mega tour that he's doing. What's it called?
Yeah, it's escaping my mind. But yeah, there's a lot of really great comics on that, and they're all
Yeah.
doing it. They're doing it all outdoor venues. I think they're doing it at like baseball
stadiums, like minor league stadiums. But yeah, I didn't think about that until right now. I'm like, well, Big J only does crowd work, and he's only doing stadiums on this tour. I was like, how is that gonna work?
I'm sure. I mean, he's prolific and proficient enough that I'm sure he's figured it out.
I'm sure it's
because
fine.
he's been touring with like really big acts for a long time. Like he was Dave Attell's opener for like ever. You know?
He opened for Korn for a while. when
I
they
could
were
see
on
that.
tour.
Yeah,
I
I could
definitely
see that for him.
checks out.
That's wild.
Have you seen this guy? You're like, that makes sense.
Yeah, he looks like the manager of a Hot Topic.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to some roast that he was in the other day, and someone was like, yeah, Big J looks like what a 13-year-old thinks a really cool adult looks like.
Yeah. Very
the
much so.
chain wallet and shit. So funny.
Yeah. But yeah, anytime you're crowd work stuff is like it's so difficult, and I have a handful of bits that I just know work well with crowd work, and I can just ask a couple questions. And I forget which one of you guys I was talking to about this last night, but a lot of times you'll see crowd work comics. They do the same crowd work on every show, so it's almost like they know that you're gonna only have maybe 5 or 6 potential responses to whatever they say,
Right?
And they've done this so much enough, that they've done it so many times that they have jokes prepared for basically whatever you're gonna say,
Right?
You know, like Judah Friedlander did. He did his special. He did like a crowd work special or whatever, where he's like running for president or running for leader of the world or whatever. And he basically just asks people like, ask me about any political issue and I'll tell you how to solve it. You know, so he basically knows there's only so many things that people are gonna ask. So he's got stuff prepared for each one of them. Yeah,
that's like those old those telemarketer things where they have like a script and like, well, if they say this, then you say that, and then if they say this, then you say that.
Yeah,
you know?
which is also still very difficult. I mean, it's more difficult. You know, you have to have so many jokes prepared for all of these different subject matters, and you don't know. You know, the luxury of just doing a regular set is the order. You at least know how this is supposed to go, kind of thing. Obviously, you can go off on tangents here and there or whatever, but you basically know what the bones of the thing are. So you might have all these jokes prepared and all these chunks about different topics, but you don't know what order they're coming in,
right?
And you don't know when they're happening or how well one's gonna go, and then you got to ask, all right, anybody else have one for me, you know, kind of thing. Yeah,
it's interesting. I like doing crowd work, like at our open mics and stuff. I try to do at least a little bit every week, and that was so fun about that spelling bee, like I was telling you about when you asked before. It was basically just 2 hours of that.
Yeah,
and I had like some canned responses, but for the most part, it was just kind of like. Someone would walk on stage, and I just look at it and be like, "What's with your shoes?" And then we'd do that's how we'd start almost every contestant.
Nice.
And that's the most fun for me, but it is definitely risky because it doesn't always pay off.
Well, it's like, last night I did a little bit of crowd work stuff, and I was picking on that like old guy.
The old guy, he was the gift they kept giving.
Oh yeah, and I mean at first, when I was talking to somebody else about this the other day, it's funny. This always seems to happen. You'll have a good crowd work bit with somebody in the audience, and then every time you call back to it, unlike a regular callback for one of your regular jokes, it gets less and less of a laugh every time. And I'm not sure why, but it's like the spontaneity of the moment with it being crowd work and unpredictable was...
Keep going.
We good? Is what made it really funny at first, and then when you keep calling back to the crowd work thing that you did, it just deteriorates in value, like each time. And I'm not sure why. I was just talking to somebody about another comic about that, and we just kind of came to an agreement about the same thing, really.
Yeah,
I think there's like a space buffer. Like the longer you can wait before the callback, the more it gives it like value. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A good rule of thumb with callbacks is the joke had to work the first time. So
that too.
Although it would be hilarious if something just failed and then you kept going back to it.
Yeah, it's like
screw you guys.
Like
I really like this.
It's like when you tell the tag on a joke that didn't work. You're like, why did I fucking do that? Like that's the whole reason the tags exist. You only do the tags when the joke works.
Right.
Why did you keep going? But it happens, sometimes. You're just like, no, this one will get him.
Yeah.
It's
they
failed
say
60 times before, but it'll work this
14th time's a charm, as they say. Yeah. For sure. Well, I really want to talk to you, Shelton, about what you got going on in Grand Junction.
Yeah, cool, man.
Because when I first got you signed on to the show, recommended from Korey, which obviously was terrible, but
recommendation. I know, man.
That's the last time.
I'm
next
really
time
sorry.
Korey
I'm
says,
sorry
"Come
that I'm
feature,"
even
I'll say
here.
no.
Yeah.
I'm never inviting Shelton again.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know.
Can we just? I don't think he can hear us.
Yeah.
Let's not invite Shelton again.
Well, candidly, before
So-
we dunk on him too much, I just want to say Shelton fucking killed last night.
No,
and
you're
I-
great, man.
Thanks, man.
Only
Appreciate
Absolutely.
I'd only seen him perform twice before when I was making that run through Grand Junction in Salt Lake, and I knew you were capable. And I invited you for a reason.
it.
Yeah. In
Thank
all
you.
seriousness,
Appreciate
you
it.
did a great job.
Thanks.
And I'm really excited to hear what you got going on because when we first signed on, you sent me a message and you're basically like, "Hey, I'm trying to do similar to what you did.
Yeah.
in Steamboat is build up a thing in a little town."
Yep.
So tell me about what's going on, buddy.
Yeah, so we've got, it's Joke Junction, and right now we just have a Facebook page, but we have, the goal is to try to increase the comedy community on the Western Slope, so we've got open mics has kind of been the main thing, trying to set those up, and we've got 3 open mics or shows that are happening monthly right now, and then we just have another bar that signed up for a monthly show, and then like I was talking to you about, we're going to start doing weekly stuff here pretty soon with something else, so yeah, it's been good. Yeah, but you've been a great kind of example for what we're kind of striving towards. You've crushed it here, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
No, it's
Professionally, an example. Personally, maybe not so much.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Do as I
Yeah.
do, not as I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, he's really good at one thing. We're all good at different stuff.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yeah.
I've drank
and-
more than I have like in the past 6 months here. So yeah,
Again,
personally,
well,
it's
I'm
been
good
bad.
at 2 things.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a bad influence since I was 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've
You're
been
that guy in the
making
Mormon church.
Oh yeah, so I've been making Shelton drink this entire trip.
This is a tough town to not drink it.
It is. Yeah. Horribly depressing here.
Yes.
You
So
asked
ugly, the
somebody on the mountain
landscape.
bike ride that we went with earlier. You were like, "So do you have a margarita every time you ride?"
I think I was like, what, dude's like, what kind of question is that? Of course I do.
Yeah. I've got that in my fucking backpack, bro.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's like, do you want one?
Yeah.
I actually just had a margarita before this podcast. I went to go write a little bit and got a taco and a margarita.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
hey, there
Nice.
you go.
Yeah.
The
But
rim.
yes, it was salted, buddy. So yeah, just like what we have here, it kind of started small. Started with working with venues. The open mic thing, when we first started, it was like once a month, and then it was every other week, and then now it's weekly, and then we added some other things. So what for where you're starting out, you say you're trying to get the mics going. Do you have a venue that's like on board with that?
Yeah, we've got 3 venues. We've got Gemini Beer Co. that's doing we're doing monthly shows there, and then we've got Monumental Beer Works, which is another monthly show thing. But all of them right now are monthly, and then we've got Charlie Dwellington's, which is also a monthly event. Yeah, so it'd be great. I'd love to get at least once a week where we've got an open mic type thing happening.
Yeah.
Or something. That's what we need. Everybody, we've got like 8 or 9 people that are doing it consistently, and we all just need stage time.
Well, that's good.
So-
See, that's the hardest part is having people with you to do it consistently.
Yeah.
Because we started out. I was one of the original 6, like hockey terms as we say, and of that original 6, it's pretty much just me
Yeah.
and one other guy who comes occasionally, which would be Spencer.
It's hard with big groups like that, and inevitably everybody always has like a ton of enthusiasm right out of the gate. And
Yeah.
then to keep it sustainable, most people don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially like in a small town, you eat shit a couple times, and you're like, "Why am I doing this?"
Mhm.
You're like, "I could just not do this," and like you have that pressure of like when you're getting ready to go, you're like, "I need to come up with new material." And a lot of people were just kind of like, "Oh, like I've got other problems. I'm not doing it."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got lucky with Drew and Matt especially, and Kalen. It's kind of like that. That's the 4 of us is like the tight group where they're all Matt's fucking hilarious and has a ton of potential, and Drew just loves it. He doesn't have a day job anyways, and so he loves telling his kids
I
these.
love that you set it up where you were like, Matt's really funny and Drew just works hard.
He works really hard.
Drew doesn't
tries
work.
really hard.
And Drew's always there.
Drew's just up there having fun.
No, but he's dedicated and he loves doing it.
Yeah.
And so you kind of like after a while you weed through the people who actually love it because they do it, and then the people who are like, I got some laughs one time and I'm so fucking good. Like not to name any names, but Kendra used to constantly brag. She's like, I never bomb. I've never bombed before, and she like thought she was God's gift to comedy up here in Steamboat, and then she'd fucking bomb.
Well, if you ain't bombing, you ain't trying, dude. It's just a matter
sure.
of whether
Exactly.
or not. If it's just a matter of whether or not like that actually affects you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just had a few, and in a small town, this will happen when people bring their friends out. Is people start to get a little ego to them
For sure.
because they're not used to getting chopped down in the the harsh Denver scene.
Yep.
And places like that.
That's a Kendra move too, coming out so strong and confident. You know.
Oh yeah, that's a big Kendra move.
Yeah, big Kendra move.
Big time Kendra move. I just saw her today. Shout out to Kendra, friend of the show.
Formerly friend of the show.
Yes,
Yeah, good friend.
great friend. No, she could take it.
So are you still do they still do any of those shows in Fruita as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Cavalcade. Yeah, I forgot to mention Cavalcade, but first Friday Cavalcade. Yep.
Yeah. So when we
Cool.
so that little run was actually like my first like headlining run that I ever did.
Sick. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. And
Wait, was that your butt mic or your mouth?
fuck. No. I'll get a fart in here.
All right,
That's the
cool.
point. But that was like the first one that I had done, and so I was really stoked about it, very excited. And then the gig in Fruita on the way back, it was a Sunday, I think. Probably how many people? 10, 12?
Not very many. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And it turned out to be like a really fun show. Like
Yeah.
it was great. But
Nice.
then one of my favorite things to do is call my dad on like Mondays or whatever, and he'll be like, "Well, how'd it go?" And I'm just like, "I'm still not a draw." And like, well, it's like it was fun, but I still can't pack out a room.
Yeah.
But
Hey, you get there, buddy.
yeah,
sure.
no, absolutely.
And 12 is pretty close to packed. To be
Yeah,
honest,
I know.
for Cavalcade. It's
It
a
was
very
a,
small
it was
venue.
like it was a fun learning experience too. I mean, that was like it was really important for me to get out of town. I've made it a huge point for me to get out of town more, hit the road more,
Absolutely.
and especially being able to take those opportunities where I can headline on the road, and that's just part of it. You just like sometimes you're gonna get sold out shows, sometimes you're just gonna get 10 people there or whatever. That's just all part of like doing this job and hopefully building a brand and getting an audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. God damn, this fucking GoPro keeps cutting out.
No, that's okay. But that was a good test for me too, because it's always really nice to figure out like what actually works other places.
Yeah.
That's the biggest, the hardest thing I think for people that you're doing comedy in a big city is that you're in this little bubble, and I'm sure that happens to you guys here. It happens everywhere. If you don't go anywhere, you don't really ever know if this stuff works.
Oh yeah, and then
Like,
even
for
little
real.
things. I remember one of the first gigs I did at town. I did a gig in Philly, opening for my buddy Robbie Bernstein, and I just had like a quick like tag and a joke about BYU. The joke is that Steamboat is whiter than the BYU marching band. Which, if you know BYU out here, it's a bunch of Mormons. It's the whitest thing in the world.
Yeah,
And
explaining the joke makes it better.
Well, I'm explaining. I'm explaining it for the audience, fucker. But the point is, I go to do this show in Philly, and I say that I'm like the BYU, and someone in this, it gets kind of like a chuckle, and someone like I can hear that maybe like 3 rows back goes, "What's BYU?" You know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
People don't know here.
People might
'Cause
not
why
know.
would you care in Philadelphia what the
Yep.
fuck BYU is?
I don't know. That person sounds like they live under a rock. Like, who doesn't know what Brigham Young University is?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, East Coasters don't give a fuck.
I know, but it's the only like Mormon school in the entire country, and it's a big school. I mean, they have
Right.
successful like basketball and football teams. It's not like
They're on the map, but if you're not into sports,
I
then
guess I'm giving you an out. I'm saying that person's an idiot. Like that's.
I'm saying that's the explanation. It makes sense to me the more I thought about it. I was like, yeah, of course you have no reason to know what.
Yeah.
I
BYU
suppose
is.
that'd be like having hot air balloon jokes, and somebody says, "What's a balloon?" Like I
Yeah.
can't explain this to
Yeah.
you. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to take the time.
Where do
to-
we start? Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it's I always love any opportunity I can to do a show outside of here, just because it's nice to because then you have a clean slate too. Like I'm not too worried about it here. Because we do get like a good amount of tourism traffic tonight. Like tonight will be mostly tourists. I try to advertise the locals. I offer them half-off tickets and shit, and they're just
nice.
like, we know you. They're just fucking crusty buttholes.
I had somebody that I've like met before, and she's even crashed at my place before when she was in Denver, and I was like, we ran into her because she works over at Backdoor, and I was like, yeah, we got the show tonight at 8. And she's like, oh, I think I'm gonna go to an EDM show tonight. I'm like, you go to EDM shows every goddamn weekend,
Right.
Like I'm,
It's like, come on,
I'm
man.
special.
give your serotonin levels a break.
Chill on the MDMA.
Yeah, save some money on Molly tonight. Come to the show.
Yeah. Hell, you can even take the Molly and come to the show,
Yeah, right?
but do
Yeah.
something different.
And give some to me. I guess.
That was like last night, the fucking free concert of some reggae band, and I'm just like, you guys, how many weekends in a row do you need to see a shitty white guy reggae band? Because that's this whole town is either bluegrass, shitty reggae, or like a jam band here and there.
Yeah.
Not enough, apparently.
Yeah, it's never enough.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to feel like they're cultural here. It's their white guilt coming through.
I need more Robert Marley in my life.
Yes. Who was this guy? Oh, Robert. He's actually on this table right here. That's about yeah. But yeah, it's nice getting on the road when you can. I actually got some road gigs next week, and I'm super excited for. But we have good crowds here. That's what I'm super grateful for. I don't know what's the is Grand Junction a big tourist town? What do you feel like for that?
There are some people that come through, but I think most of the time when we do shows, it's locals.
Yeah.
Almost always locals, yeah.
I think it's a big Make America Great Again town.
It is a big MAGA town.
yeah?
Bro. It's a big MAGA
They
town.
love me then.
Yeah. Great, good. Sign me up. I'll get down there tomorrow.
Just kidding. I could piss off anybody with the best of them.
Yeah.
All right, that's interesting. So, do you think there's going to be any challenges with that, or what's your plans for kind of marketing to the locals there?
Yeah, it's difficult. I don't know. It's tough setting up a place there, and like you're saying, I mean, telling the same, like working on your set and telling the same type jokes. You can change it up so much, but then you also want for shows to be good and for you to do solid material. And yeah, it's been a difficult thing to kind of navigate some, but. Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna do it exactly, but things have worked out and things have built so far. We've got a decent little there's enough of a population there for us to bring in a crowd every time and a different crowd. Yeah, so it's been okay so far, but I'm just hoping we don't saturate it trying to figure it out.
How is Grand Junction size wise compared to like Steamboat?
I think we've got 140,000.
Oh, really?
In the entire valley.
I'd say it's much bigger than I thought.
Yeah. I mean, between Fruita, Palisade. Which are 10 minutes away from each other.
I got you.
Yeah.
Little burbs.
I mean, the biggest hurdle that you guys have being in smaller towns is just reps. You know, it's just being able to not even get reps just to feel comfortable on stage. But I mean, I know we've talked about this. You know, comedy is mostly just throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks, right?
Mm-hmm.
More than people realize, and the more opportunities you have to throw, the quicker you can figure out whether something has any legs or not.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was back in upstate New York, we had maybe 2 good mics a week, and then you had other mics you could go to, but they weren't quality mics.
Yeah.
So you'd find a joke that got a good laugh at one of the good mics or whatever. You're like, okay, let's work on this one. And then it took you like 2 weeks to figure out, like, no, this isn't even really that good. It just was good that night.
Right, yeah.
And I've tried working this from every angle that I can think of, but ever since I've tried it that first time, it's not hitting.
I tried telling people that here, too, because they'll do a joke one time, and I'm like, fucking give it another shot. Well, that one sucked. And it's like, well, yeah, we'll fucking try it again.
Yeah. Especially if it's people coming in, new people to the scene every time.
Yeah.
Tourists.
And we do, especially like in the mid-season, we've had like people come through and comment, like, we have amazing open mics here.
Yeah.
Because it's the only thing on a Tuesday to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Like even like the tourists and stuff like that, like we'll have 50 people at our open mic.
Nice.
With like 4 comics. And that's kind of where our trade-off is too. I remember talking about this with Sean the first time he was on the podcast, that like the trade-off is we don't get a lot of reps, but we can do 20 minutes at open mic.
For sure.
And things like that, because there's only a handful of us. So you don't get as many reps to do the same joke, but you can work on more stuff.
Yep.
Each time.
That's definitely how it is.
The whole thing, because most of the time, you know, especially in cities or whatever, your mics are, you get 4 to 5 minutes, right? So you're getting that in one set, where I would have to go do 4 sets in order to kind of set that up.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, there's a give and take. There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, in Grand Junction, that's the monumental show we've made, kind of like a showcase for the local comedians. So you get to do longer sets. You're doing 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's really nice. You can polish some stuff off. Yeah.
I'm always here. That's polishing off is what I do in this room most of the time, buddy.
For sure. Yeah.
Me too.
That's why it's soundproof.
Yes, well, yeah. And no one will hear us.
All back.
Sick. I see how much time we gave it, and now it's extra funny. Callback to a callback. So, yeah, I'm really excited for what you got going on, man.
Yeah,
I'm
me
down to
too.
come check it out.
Yeah.
Definitely got to get some eyes on it. I don't know, Corey, what do you got going on these days? What's new in the Corey hood?
Well, I mean, it's like I mentioned before. The whole focus this year has been to be on the road a little bit more. So, I mean, even in just this year, I've done Oregon, Alaska, Nebraska, Minnesota.
How was that Alaska
It was
fest?
fucking. It was awesome.
Sick.
It was everything about it was really well done. And Sheldon and I were talking about this on the way over here because he had expressed wanting to potentially do like a festival of some sorts in Grand Junction.
Sure.
We're just kind of running through the list of like what makes a really good festival, and that one just checks all the boxes. And it helped that it's in this beautiful place. It's a place I've always wanted to go, and the fact that they covered the hotel rooms, I'm like, okay, I can submit $25 submission for a potentially like half price trip to Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
And then when we get there, very well organized. All the shows are packed. Like the lineup was like very, very good. They had some really great headliners on, and they had set up some fun stuff for us to do outside of the festival. So we took like a bus tour to a nature preserve. We did like a boat tour out to the ocean, like out of a town called Seward. That was just it was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to experience Alaska in addition to having really fun, awesome shows to do.
That's sick. Yeah, I think I was in Anchorage like the week before you were up there or something like that.
Oh man,
Went up for a wedding. We went up to tell Keaton. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back. I mean, that's the thing too, is that they do the fest, but then they have regular shows up there every month, and you can actually string together something between like Anchorage and then like 3 or 4 small towns in Alaska. So you can actually set up like maybe a half a week's worth of gigs up there.
That ain't bad. I mean, the tickets
cool, yeah.
up there aren't as bad as I thought they would be.
I think when I paid like probably around like $350 at the time for a round trip ticket, which I'm like, yeah, for that, like that's no big deal.
Yeah, it's cheap as fuck.
just to go up to Alaska and do
There's
that.
a lot of cheap Airbnbs up there too if you need it.
Yeah. They put us up in an Airbnb. It was great. Got to hang out with some really awesome comics. And I was telling Sheldon before, it's like one of the best things about a festival is you get to just hang out with all these people that are essentially in what I like to refer to as like our tribe. It's like 30 different people that are all just like silly, goofy, cynical, sarcastic people, and we just get to bounce and riff off of each other like all weekend and get a great hanging. And
Sure.
and you get people in from all different walks of life and from different cultures and cities, the country, like whatever, right? And we were going to this nature preserve, and we're all just riffing and raffing on the bus, having a good time, and we pull up. And most of these people, like a lot of the people on the bus are like from like New York or LA. They've never even been to the mountains ever, right?
Yeah.
And the people that were from the cities, when we pulled up, the like 3 moose that they had on site, almost like on cue, like they get hired to do this, all just started prancing out from their barn like quickly, like they were Beyonce's background dancers. They're just like high stepping,
Like
like
in
in
unison?
synchronized. Yeah. And all the people that like have never seen any wildlife before in their entire life lost their goddamn minds. And it was one of the funnest things to see. You know what I mean? Because I've seen a moose before or whatever. I don't see them all the time or whatever.
Yeah.
But like it was just really cool to see somebody get so much joy out of just being in nature and seeing an animal that they had never like seen before.
Yeah, that's
it
cool.
was just like pure unapologetic happiness.
Oh my God, that's a giant deer! And
It was really fun to see.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's even cooler if you can do like a unique fest in a unique situation too. You know, like
That's all I mean, there's certain festivals in the country that are good for your career, and but they don't happen to be in really cool locations, like
Right.
Limestone, for example, is in like Bloomington, Indiana. But
cool.
when I like to submit for festivals, it's really geared around like where do I want to go, like where are places I would like to hang out, and I kind of treat it like a little bit of a vacation at the same time.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can get anyone to come up here.
That's why I love coming up here. I was gonna say we get to snowboard all day. We went for an awesome mountain bike ride today, and now we get to go to do shows at night. Like that's my perfect day. I'm trying to figure out like
epic.
I run a show in Carbondale, which is if for anybody that's not familiar, is like a little outside of Aspen, and I selfishly run that. Like I make pretty good money on the show, but I selfishly run that show so that I can drive up, snowboard or mountain bike on the way during the day, stay the night because they put me up, and then do the same thing on the way back.
Yeah.
That's just the perfect day for me.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man.
When you're
Business
doing
and
shows
pleasure.
in Alaska, do you find like are the rural crowds pretty responsive and like hungry for comedy?
Yeah, they
Is
were
it
good.
shows?
They were good crowds. I will say, almost everybody in Alaska seems like they're on the spectrum.
Oh yeah.
Kind of happy to want to
Like,
live up there.
everybody's a little slower. Like
Yeah.
it's not that they were bad people to talk to or anything like that, but you could just tell the response
Took a minute to
time
click.
was a little slow.
Yeah.
The speech was a little
Yes.
slower.
Oh.
It's like I don't know if it's the lack of sun or too much sun or anything like
Probably
that.
the lack of human interaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're fucking. It was crazy. You don't realize that, how far out there it is. Because you obviously see it on a map, but when you're actually there, and you also don't realize. Again, you see it on a map, but you don't really understand it. Like how close you are to Russia.
Yeah.
Like I've never been.
Yeah.
I have never been anywhere that has like Russian themed restaurants, Russian food trucks, like
Yeah.
Russian decor
Yeah.
on the
Wow,
walls.
yeah,
They
you
used
know?
to
I
fucking
didn't know
walk
that.
across.
There was a
man.
whole
Yeah,
the
for
place
sure,
that
yeah.
they
That's how we got here.
land
the
bridge.
place that they do
Yeah.
the place that they do most of those shows was this place called Chilkoot Charlie's, and it's huge. It's like this labyrinth.
Chill, cute Charlie's.
Yeah, it's like this labyrinth of a bar. They have like 5 different bars within this one building.
Interesting.
And they have an entire hall that's completely dedicated to old like Russian war memorabilia.
Oh wow.
And they have it's like, it was
shit.
insane.
Not
like,
the time.
yeah, just like,
yeah.
but I'm just saying, like,
could be new Russian war memorabilia there soon.
well, I don't know. I feel
Bar
like
has since
Alaska would
been
probably
canceled.
turn on us if they would probably side with Russia. If anything,
They'd be like, we're literally closer.
yeah,
Like they're
closer.
right there.
Yeah, like you're from Nebraska, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, like, I don't know you
we're
at
not
all.
we're not your people. I was
Yeah.
gonna say Gorbachev and I have been friends for years.
Take our war bears to Russia.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And then Minneapolis was really fun, and obviously coming up here doing the Vail Comedy Festival. I'm in Texas in July. I'm doing Georgia and North Carolina in the fall. So all
Texas
just
is fun.
yeah. It's my first time in Houston, so I'm really excited about that. But then locally, I just got passed at Comedy Works, which was a really big deal for
Oh
me.
yeah, congrats, buddy.
And it really just it's all these things coming together. And the Comedy Works thing, I had kind of been planning my life around it not happening, because not that I doubted that I would get past there. It's just that I'm not going to let any one place dictate what I want to do.
Sure.
So I knew like the next evolution for me was, okay, I have the time to do B-room headlining spots, 30, 40 minutes or whatever. And I do those in Denver. So now let's go do them in other places. Like I can't just stay in Denver.
Sure.
There's only so many headlining spots available.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
I want to figure out if this thing works and also start building an audience in other places, whether I'm past at Comedy Works or not, like I got to go. Like I got to go do that.
Absolutely. So can you quickly, if you can, not to get too in depth. What time is it, by the way?
It's 5:58.
So we do have to go do another show at some point. But when you say, for the layman listening, when you say you're past at Comedy Works, and you don't, for a lot of people who are listening might not know, Comedy Works is probably our top 5 club in the country.
I would say so.
Yeah, fantastic,
Sure.
well known, very well respected, and you're a regular there, and you kind of work your way through the tiers when you go there a lot, and you just got passed. What exactly does that mean for you?
Well, so what that really kind of means is before you're passed, which is there's a bunch of different words for you. You're on the list, promoted, whatever.
Suck the right
Essentially,
penis.
what that means is you get to work there on the weekends now.
Okay.
And the way that it was before, the way that it just is, but where I was before, you really only get to do one night a week there. Well, not even a week. See, they have this thing called New Talent Night that's on Tuesdays, and you have to call in or sign up online, and you get up every 4 to 6 weeks probably, and that's really the only time that locals get to perform there. So they can start moving through the system. So the way that they kind of do theirs is like it's like a CBA Pro, and you have to move up levels in order to eventually get past. So if you're in the A or the Pro list, then you get to start working on weekends. So the reason that's important is because like it's one of the best clubs in the country. The best comics in the world work there.
Sure.
And it's a boost for your credits. Like that means something across the country. I can use that as a credit for like when I submit to festivals,
Oh,
when
absolutely.
I'm going to a new place, and I like, hey, I've done this, this, and this, and I'm on the list of Comedy Works. So in the grand scheme of things, like I've worked at plenty of clubs, but it's really, really hard to get past there. There's probably 30 people on the list.
It's pretty cutthroat, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 300 comics in Denver, and that list of 30 also includes a handful of people that are like out of town, but they were from Denver, so when they come to town, they can work there. So yeah, it's just a good opportunity, and just another thing to be able to kind of do to like keep moving forward.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's a big deal, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a big deal at all. I think you suck and you don't deserve it.
pretty.
It's
Large.
nothing
just-
like Steamboat Comedy, baby.
It's no Schmiggities. You can come
To
see
tell you what
us.
the bar is, I got passed here immediately.
Yeah, we met one time. I was like, "You do comedy?
Sight unseen.
Let's go.
You want
Yeah.
a headline?"
We're
here?
gonna headline, yeah.
Literally no bar.
If you're a warm body and you're here, then like, congrats, you're a pro in Steamboat. Well, that's awesome. No, I am really stoked for you, buddy. And I'm glad it's all paying off. It's coming together for you. You put in the work, so you deserve it.
Thanks.
And Shelton, someday,
Someday
buddy.
I'll get there. Yeah,
You got that boyish charm
yeah.
and that smile and a wink.
A ventriloquist smile.
Yes.
Very creepy. You describe it that way.
I kind of hate it, to be honest.
I wish you'd stop. I wish you could stop.
Yeah, if you could just face the wall, that'd be great.
Just the Hot Boys tour.
Damn straight. All right, well, you guys have anything
Come
else
out
to
tonight,
add?
Get a boner.
Exactly. Yeah. Ladies or gentlemen.
men, yeah.
There was a big pride thing on the lawn of City Council today.
Big pride thing.
I don't know what you call it.
Celebration, parade.
It wasn't a parade though. It was like a bunch of booths.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess a pride event.
What do people? Is the group that opposes pride just called disappointed?
It's just called shame.
Yeah, shame.
Shame and loathing. They were across the street. They're like, we don't like you. But no, they seemed like they were having a good time. But hey, gentlemen, if you were at the pride thing,
Yeah, come on out.
some hot young boys
You already
here.
came
Yeah.
out once. Come out again.
Hey,
For sure, yeah.
Hey.
We can polish you off.
I like it. Hey, now that's a
There
callback.
you go. Yeah.
Oh. All right, that's a good place to end it. And also, this won't come out until tomorrow, so the Pride people, it'll be too late. But there's all kinds of gays here.
We'll be back again.
We'll be back again, and gay as ever. So, thanks everyone for listening. If you saw us tonight, then congrats to you for having a great time. But stay tuned to SteamboatComedy.com. We got some more shows coming up 2 weeks from today. And yesterday is Mr. Sean Patton and Caitlin Cook are coming back.
Oh, that's fun.
Very
Yeah, that's
excited. And then 3 weeks after that, we got Sam Talent. I'll be in Seattle and fucking somewhere in Idaho next weekend. Not even sure what the hell I'm doing, but it's going to be fun. And yeah, you guys got anything else to plug for some of our listeners?
No, just fake Korey David with a K on Instagram. You can check out my website too. I have all my show dates posted on there, and it's fake Korey David on Instagram and TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Shelton Holmes on Instagram and Joke Junction on Facebook. That's it.
Sick. Real quick, how's TikTok going for you?
I just don't post enough. Like,
Okay.
I'll have some things that get a couple thousand views. I had one video that hit like 500,000, and then nothing else has ever really come to fruition. Like after
It
that.
seems almost random. I was
is
talking with
super random.
Mike Stanley about that, and he's like, yeah, like they're blocking all my shit and like I don't know, censoring it on Instagram and Facebook. And he's like, I'll do the same video on TikTok, and it's like,
Yeah, I know that this. It seems like the key to success there is just consistency,
It's
and
just
you have to
going.
post all the time. And I just don't. I know it's something I got to get better at, but I
I hate it. I hate social media, but I know you got to do it.
Yeah,
and
it's
which is
important.
why I hate myself.
Yeah, I'm getting over the fact. I'm getting over just being like, oh, it's stupid. It's like, no, it's not. Like, I have friends
It's a
that
tool.
like are very successful, like on
Yeah.
TikTok, and do
Well,
very well for
it's-
themselves.
It's not that I hate the idea. I just hate doing it. Like it's work.
Oh, I
And
know.
it's
Yeah,
like-
that's the thing is I just never want to do it. That's
Yeah.
really it.
And I'm so stiff. I'm so bad at the dances. It's just, it's not good. It's
You
not
hear
good to be
that,
on there.
boys? He's so stiff. Come see him tonight for
Terrible,
Pride.
terrible
damn it.
dancer. Show him some moves.
All right, let's wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for being here. Love you guys both. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. I'm pointing at the camera that turned off 10 minutes ago. All right. See ya.
Rain or shine, it's here to make you laugh. It's the Steamboat Comedy Podcast. It's the Steamboat Comedy Podcast.